We've seen homes that have burnt, and we've seen homes that had very minimal or no defensible space, and unfortunately those homes have been lost. So a lot of homes up here do have that threat to wildland fires. You know, firefighters always want to save everyone and save every home. So I'll stop up here, and this is another little area with these trees where actually you can see all these trees are trimmed up. So what we've done here is back right behind me, these trees, we've actually climbed up the trees here and trimmed all the low-hanging branches, and we've gone above and beyond the 10-foot requirement that's required by the Public Resource Code. Back over here where we trim the trees, if a fire comes up, there's no branches, low-hanging branches that can catch fire from the ground, so it gives us that added fire protection. So right here on this hillside, we've obviously cut the grass. We've trimmed up several of the trees from the ground up, again to reduce those ladder fuels and make the property more fire safe. There's a dead standing tree here we haven't gotten around to cutting yet. This December, when burn season opens here in Santa Cruz County, we'll come through and pick up any fallen debris, trim up any trees that need to be trimmed, and then we'll cut this tree down. Obviously it's dead, and we'll cut that down and throw that in the burn pile and burn that. So this is an example of what you don't want to have on your property, is if you have many of these trees, it just adds that to that fuel loading, and if a fire comes up and hits that cluster of dead trees, then that fire just grows very rapidly. So this house here, got a hillside back behind it that had a lot of dry grass. That dry grass has been cut, and obviously we still want to maintain that defensible space around every structure. So we cut that grass down right down to the ground, and that minimizes any fuel to be burnt. Tall grass or even grass of any height can burn with quick intensity, fire intensity, and can produce some fairly lengthy flame lengths, and then when it gets next to a wood structure, and that structure can then catch on fire. So we get all that grass cut down and have that additional defensible space around the structure. Okay, so this is probably one of the last spots on the property that we have not cleared yet, and so this is a great example of what you don't want to have on your property. So we have tall grass, dry grass here. Here you have grass right up next to the building. This is again one of the buildings that last couple buildings that have a shake roof, which you don't want. We're in the process of replacing all our roofs and everything. Wood siding structure, that's going to stay, but we clear all this grass every year so that again, if there's a fire that comes through here, this building won't burn, and it has that defensible space. Here is an old cedar shake roof, no longer allowed by building code now. Highly combustible, so when you do have a wildland fire and firebrands are landing on a rooftop, this is going to be a more receptive fuel bed, so better chances of the roof catching on fire. This other roof here that we are now changing over is all a composition shingle, so a non-combustible roof, so firebrands land on that, very little chance of that roof catching on fire. On the comp shingle, everything lays flat, so if you do have firebrands landing on the roof, there's really no portal of entry to get up underneath the building material. Okay, so right here is a fire screen that covers any openings around the house. And these are just air circulation vents. So during the event of a wildland fire where you have firebrands and embers and sparks flying around, these screens will prevent any firebrands or embers from going inside the house, and underneath the house or up inside the attic, and then cause the house fire to start from the inside. So it's something you just can't do, real quick on a weekend before fire season starts. It's something that's got to be almost an ongoing process. It's a little frustrating and sometimes disheartening because firefighters always want to save everyone and save every home. And if you come up to a home and the homeowners have not taken those steps, sometimes it's very, very difficult to save that home. And sometimes you can't because there's so much brush and so little time to do anything.